I'm Zoe. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about annotating, specifically how I annotate. I started annotating, I feel like back in like maybe the end of 2018, 2019, when I was first getting back into reading. And when I started annotating back then, I was just following what I saw other people doing. The reason why I stuck with it was because I found myself remembering a lot more of the minor details. I never thought of annotating a book that I was reading for fun. But once I finally grasped the concept of it and I really saw the benefits of being able to put my reactions in real time somewhere, I was like, oh, sign me up. You're going to need pens, you're going to need highlighters, and you're also, of course, going to need some type of tabbing system to keep track of all of your thoughts. And those are like the most basic things that you need, and these are all things that you can find at like the dollar store. So it's nothing too complicated, and it's also some things that you might already have around your house. As you continue to accumulate those types of basic things, as you get deeper into something like this, you might be like me and have multiple containers that are dedicated towards your book annotating supplies. My Spidey pencil case, all of my pens and highlighters, and then some post-its. Since these are the things that I use the most, and it's just nice to always have everything in here, and it's just so nice and slim that it fits right next to whatever book I have, and you know, it's just easy to use. And that was really what I was looking for when I was looking for a pencil case for my everyday necessities for annotating. Get into more of the specifics of writing and highlighting in my books. I feel like I don't really highlight a lot whenever I'm reading a book, whenever I feel like there's something that really is standing out in a page and I just want it to like really catch my attention when I'm flipping through it. For me, I always try and highlight a romantic moment, or whenever the first I love you is said between two characters. I don't know, I love highlighting those moments, and usually I'll do it in like purple or I'll do it in pink. Since I read a lot of things that always have romance in them, that's something that I'm always thinking about. Only recently I have gotten into the idea of highlighting the edges of a book to show moments that I really love, or something that was so romantic that I was sitting there giggling and kicking my feet. I only started doing that with Happy Place, and that's because this book changed my life, obviously. But I decided to highlight the edges of this book, and it only works out obviously because it's not like a special edition or anything like that, but a lot of my books are like this, so I feel like it's probably something that I'm gonna try and do in the future. It's fun, and I think it really matches the cover, but I will say I felt like my marker was really drying out when I started doing that. Now, my go-to favorite type of pens are definitely more of a round tip type of pen. I have big handwriting, and I feel like my handwriting just never looks good whenever I have super fine tip pens. I just use the basic like Bic. It's literally called Bic Round Stick, and I'm pretty sure this one is Bic too. I bet you anything that I will pop out this pink pen whenever something romantic happens. I think that's the most consistent thing I have, is using pink whenever there is something romantic happening, or an I love you or something like that. This pink pen will pop out. I have 3 different types of post-its that I like to use in my books. This one, this little square one, is what I use the most, I think, because it's just very quick. It's like a quick thought. This one is a big boy. It's a bigger sheet, and it's definitely for when I really need to cuss someone out. Like if I have to write this much, I'm probably cussing someone out. I'm not gonna lie. That's probably what is happening. And then we also have like these. I like these because they're pink, and so it's really cute and fun, but these are not sticky. So I will have to put a sticker or something on here like that, washi tape, to get it to stay on the page. So I don't use these as often, but sometimes if I'm really in like an aesthetic mood, or like the book is pink, I feel compelled to use this one. other two containers I have, this one is filled with tabs and this one is filled with stickers. Both are very, very necessary. I have reached a point in my life, in my annotating life, where I need a big variety of tabs. I still run into situations where I find I don't have all of the colors that I need. Isn't that crazy? I took the time to actually like color code them, and I try and keep them in color codes, but it doesn't always work out. I always try and buy some whenever I can, because you run out of these so quickly, and sometimes they have certain colors that they don't give you a lot of, and then they have some like this where they give you so many. This must be a very, very popular shade of blue because I've gotten it so much across so many different kits. Having a good variety of tabs is just great for me though, because I love to match my tabs to the covers of the books that I'm reading, and because you can never really predict what a book's cover is going to be like, I think it's just great to cover all of your bases. I almost forgot to say that I really like this specific style of tabs. I like the color to go all the way down the whole entire tab. I don't really like the ones that are like half a color, half clear, or the ones that are like clear and then they have a rounded end and then a little dot of a color. I don't really like those. I also have a thing of stickers. Now, the stickers thing is kind of something that I got into recently. And I also just have a shit ton of stickers from different like sticker books and when I used to journal, and I really just wanted something to do with all of them. Like I have Lisa Frank stickers, I have smiley face stickers. They add a little razzle dazzle to the page every once in a while. I'm not really using stickers for like a serious book or like a fantasy. I feel like that never really comes out very often, but whenever I'm reading like a contemporary romance or something like that, I feel like the stickers really come out. It just matches the vibe. It's hard for me to have the super, super cute little notes and annotations, which is also where like those little square post-its really come in handy for me, because I have big handwriting, so sometimes I need to write a little bit more and I can't fit it on the margin. Sometimes I'm able to fit them in between like paragraphs. Another thing that I think I do a lot whenever I'm annotating is sometimes I will mark something off but there's no tab anywhere on the page, but I clearly had a thought. There was clearly something there that moved me to annotate that specific spot. A lot of times it's just because I don't want to use too many tabs where it feels annoying, or if I had just like previously put a tab on the page before, sometimes I just feel like it's getting excessive. So like sometimes I just want to mark something, but I don't think it's important enough that I will ever come back to look for it. Like, what was this for? Yeah, like why the hell did I even mark that? Oh my god. It's talking about, okay, it's you want me to read it? Okay. It says, there were a great many people wandering the yard. That's the first line I underlined, right? And then I underlined, but Ezra still raised his head at her approach, as if he knew her from the sound of her footsteps. That's it. That's all I marked. I'm guessing that's the love interest. I can't even remember, but like, you see, like, it's not something that clearly I care about now, but when I was in the moment and I was reading it and I guess I was tracking these two people that I think are going to end up together, maybe I was just like, oh my god, he knew her, he knew her. Since we got when I don't tab things out of the way, let's talk about when I do tab things. This sheet right here, I still have it because this is the last sheet tabbing key that I could find for this video. My old, like, probably even pre-pandemic annotating key, and this is everything that I did. You can even see how I was trying to match a highlighter shade to it, matching a pen color to it. This was the system that I was trying to keep up with. This was a very detailed system. I had a specific set of tabs that I loved at the time because, as I said, when I was first getting into annotating, everyone used like these highlighter type of annotating tabs. As you can see in my copy of To All the Boys I Loved Before, these are also the type of tabs that you can just find at Walmart. So they were very accessible to get to, and that was great for back then. I didn't even end up using all of them before I totally ditched that system, but that's a whole nother story. Things that made me angry, sad, the history of the world, world building, magic system, family history, dynamics, foreshadowing, like foreshadowing. I was trying to annotate the foreshadowing, oh my god. Something that I think might be important in the future, relationship things that I love, that I found funny. Like, I had a whole system. It was so detailed. It stressed me out. But it was what was being suggested by everyone, to have the specific color to match the specific thing, and every single book followed that same exact system, so then you wouldn't have to question what you were tabbing or what it meant or anything like that. When I really was sitting there reflecting, I realized that annotating was no longer becoming fun for me because I was too stressed checking my list twice. I had all of these supplies. I really was excited about it. I really invested in it. And I was like, how can I make this exciting again? How can I make this something that I want? And I think that's when I started going on TikTok and I really got into book talk. And I started noticing that the girls were doing aesthetic tabbing to match the cover of the book. I just decided to go for it. And when I went for it, I had no pressure for myself. I decided there's going to be a very, very, very easy, simple key for this. And that key was so simple that I didn't even need a full list for it. It could fit right here. Pick a color to be angry, pick a color for things that I love, and then on the occasion that there is something that is so sad or triggering or anything like that, I will use a totally unrelated neutral color for it. But that's it. That's the key. That's all. Or if I'm doing something like this where I'm just using a bunch of colors, in this one it's red and gray, I will pick the darkest color and then I will pick the lightest color, and the darkest color represents anger, things that annoyed me. Things that are in the light tabs are things I love, romantic things, funny. This is when an older person is talking to Pip and he says, "You stupid slut," and then she says, "You degenerate, perverted ape." I said no. Exactly. I was pissed off. The lightest shade, let's see. Okay, this is the lightest shade. Her and someone are like making up right here, and that's so easy for me to remember. I love that there's not like 7 tabs that I have to keep track of the specific thing for. I also love that this allows me to use more of the tabs as I'm going. Like here we have a tab that I made for a book. This is for angry, and this one is for happy, things that I love, things that I find funny. But something I also love to do with those things is I love to have them as kind of like standout colors. Like this one is the brightest one, so obviously you think happiness, yellow, like yes. And then this is kind of like dull, but it could be angry. It's kind of like I could still find it easily when I'm flipping through the book. These kind of blend together, kind of. So there is a system to it. Like there is a reason why I pick certain colors for certain things. Like I wouldn't want to pick one of these dull greens because I just kind of feel like they would get blended in too easily, and I probably wouldn't notice them very much whenever I'm looking at like the side of the book. So whenever I'm going through a book, the only 2 tabs I keep track of are these. Other than that, I'm just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every single time there is something that I want to tab, I just grab the next one, next color, next color. And I think that it always just makes a really pretty pattern on the book's side. So it works out. Not every romance book is going to deal with the same things. Just like not every fantasy book is going to have intense world building. And even if it does, it might only be intense and super detailed at the beginning of the book. And after that, you go off on whatever task and there's not much world building after that. And then you get into the second book and it's kind of a repeat. Some authors are like that. And I just realized that those specific colors were not being used. And it was annoying me when they would just keep accumulating, but yet I was running out of like the yellow so fast. So I think it's just so much better to do it this way because I get more use out of my tabs. I feel like I'm actually getting to the bottom of them equally. Even when I have like the most random colors. Like this one is very, very random, but I'm guessing this green is anger. Yeah. I said on here, going to see this clown right after sex. They're so exhausting. I'm over it. And speaking of tabs, let's talk about my tab placement. When I first started annotating, I did not care about how far out the tabs were. These are pretty far out, okay? There's like a good chunk of distance here. Now I think that I definitely try and keep a more orderly look to my tabs. Like, I hope you can see the difference. Can you kind of see? Also see it in the way that I handled paperbacks. Like, I feel like To All the Boys I Loved Before, it feels a lot more chaotic than Before I Let Go. They're out just enough not to be annoying whenever on a bookshelf, but also not annoying whenever you're holding the book still as you're reading. With a hardcover, I think sometimes I like to let them stick out just a little bit more because, you know, hardcovers have this little lip here. And that might be something that people don't think about too much, but I think about it. When tackling sprayed edges, I have come so far. I do not have many books that have sprayed edges. Please understand, these are the only two that I really have to use as examples. The neon against the black, and because it's just like a special book, it's like you don't want that, you don't want that, but because that's how I did it, I want to leave it in its pure state. But would I do this again? No. Now, this book has a little detail on the side also. The tabs are there. Okay, they're there. They are literally right on the edge of the page, so as close to the edge as I can possibly get the tab to be. You would never know that I annotated this if you were just looking at it. As I mentioned before, the only times that I really am using post-its in my books are whenever I need to cuss somebody out and I need to say something else. But I feel like when I was first getting into it, one of the suggestions that was always given out was to have a post-it every like 50 pages. I remember people would always suggest that when you're reading fantasy to have a breaking point where you can write down your thoughts on a post-it and you can just kind of recap things that happened, because fantasies can sometimes have so much info. Yeah, every 50 pages or 100 pages, put a post-it down, write down your thought. Woof. What else is there to cover? I mark off tons of things. Sometimes I get so distracted during books, especially when I'm reading romance books, because sometimes they will bring up pop culture references, and I feel like that's my thing that gets me every single freaking time. Like if someone mentions Beyonce in a story, of course if there's a BTS mention, like a big heart, some purple hearts, some purple stars. If there's a tie-in with the title of the book, like I know in The Year of the Witching there's a part where they literally say The Year of the Witching. I just love when they tie things in like that. It's so satisfying to me. Of course I do love a good doodle on a page, especially when I feel like emotions are just so high. I just think it just helps me get off what I'm feeling in that moment so much better. I don't think that you should hold yourself back from like drawing in your books and showing them love. I love annotating my books. Like this is my thing. I love it. I think it's so fun. Buy me tabs for Christmas, please. I think that's all. I'm just rambling. I think we've talked enough. You get the point. We love annotating over here. Every single reading vlog, we're annotating, okay? That's all. Thank you so much for watching and listening to my rambles. I really love you. Keep reading, keep annotating. Bye! Dreams, baby. What can I do when